Sadistic Penguin Studios presents the At the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
And Tony Tulsa Burt.
I don't know this industry jargon, YP, MP, whatever, okay? All I know is that I cannot get a record contract. We cannot get a record contract unless I take these tapes.
It's almost time, so grab a drink, get your popcorn ready, and join the film discussion with two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the At the Show podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Yumper Garcia, and I'm with my other co-host, Tony the Sugar Baggy Burt. How you doing, my man?
Doing good. Glad to be back on this Friday.
I'm just glad the week's over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like that's a retrending thing for us when we come on.
It is.
Like I'm just glad for the week to be over.
It is because like already talking with you for 10 minutes, I feel better than I did the 10 minutes before I came on, where I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. And that's what's great about the show is it's almost like it gives me power to make it through the rest of this Friday.
I don't know if it's gonna be a good thing when later on we get to those movies, but
I'm ready to have some laughs. I know it's gonna be
we got
full of laughs.
Yeah, we got a big fun episode for you today. And actually, this episode was a idea from our guest, Sam Reeves from the Ass Crew. King Ass will be coming on in a little bit. Before we get to him, though, we're gonna go through our usual spiel here. But before we get to what we've been watching, Tone, happy Pi Day if you're a celebrator of the Pi Day.
Oh yes, of course. Well, they got us Baker Square pie and did a couple pie math exercises and some science exercises. We also celebrated St. Patrick's Day today, too. So I was having Irish music and I tried to be as positive as I can. But as you know, there's always those negative forces that come through. But I had my shillelagh and I was totally good to go today.
So was that your dance? Because you went like...
Yeah, well, I did a couple dances today, but I'm sitting. If you were here, I would do a dance. I would do
a jig?
A jig for you, yes.
No.
Or we would just watch the Warwick Davis classic, Wet Leprechaun, 1, 2, 3, or the one in the hood.
Okay. Such a horrible movie.
What a ridiculous movie. But again, before we move on to our thing, I was going to share this really quick. It's kind of a little bit of one of the news stories we love to share. Right before I was coming on here, Neil Blomkamp, who's done District 9, he just got the go-ahead, and he's going to be doing Starship Troopers. But it's going to be more based on the original novel than a remake of the movie that we've seen. So I personally have not read the novel. Have you read the novel?
No, it's going to be something I'm probably going to check out. Like, I've been wanting to listen to it audibly, but I just haven't had time.
Do it and fill me in, because I would love to hear more about it. So I just thought I'd share that with you before we got to move on here to our films of the week.
I'm surprised you're not upset about the Starship Troopers remake.
I'm not mad!
You know, I am a big fan of Neil, some of his work, and I do believe if in the right hands, I mean, we talked about, it's a great movie, but there's some stuff, like especially in the special effects department, that I think could be really awesome if done correctly.
What a novel idea is what Mailman Jack says. Coming out with the hits. But let's get into
Brian. You don't want to call Mailman Jack Brian.
Oh yeah. Let's get to our first segment. What we've been watching.
That's a me. And also, what were you just watching?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brian. I called you Mailman Jack.
I heard it right away, and I knew Brian. I'm so sorry. We will send a shirt to your house. Something.
Yeah, we'll send one from our merch store straight to your house.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
So what you been watching this week, my man?
All right, I've been watching two movies here. First movie that I watched just came out on HBO Max this past Friday, and it was one that was at the movie theater that I actually wanted to check out. Hugh Grant stars in it. It's called Heretic. It is about two Mormon girls who are knocking on doors trying to sell their religion, and they knock on his door. He invites them in, and crazy terror ensues because he's got a crazy maze in his basement, and he's just pretty ridiculous in this movie in a good sense if you're looking for not scary but a thriller, a really really like good thriller, kind of more along the lines of something along the what's the one with Stephen Lang, Don't Speak, the one where he's like in the house and he can't see, or is it Don't See? I forgot the title. I'm not thinking, but again, pretty much a good movie about being trapped, and honestly a good movie with a good plot, has a good religion overtone to think about, because that's the point that he was trying to make in it. But a very interesting movie. If you get a chance, check that one out on HBO Max.
Definitely will check that one out.
And the other one that I watched, because this was the last movie that I actually saw in the movie theaters before the pandemic, The Gentleman, Guy Ritchie film. And this is kind of where I started to recognize Guy Ritchie as somebody a little bit more than who I thought of him before, which was like the guy in the movie 9 Months with Tom Arnold. Like that's pretty much all I kind of thought of him, even though he was in movies that were reveled. This was the first movie because he was in a movie that was more towards like the Tarantino criminal line, and he did a really, really good job in this movie with Matthew McConaughey, who also does a great job in this movie. Jeremy Strong, Colin Farrell, Michelle Dockery. I think this movie's really, really fun. I even think I like Snatch and I like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I think those movies are great. I just think this movie is a little bit more mature and fun and funny too. I really like this movie a lot, The Gentleman. Have you ever seen this one?
No, I have not. I'm actually 0 for 2 on your movies. Usually I've seen one of them, but I have not seen The Gentleman.
If you really are a fan of like Snatch or crime movies, Hugh Grant, Matthew McConaughey, Colin Farrell, really even what's his name? Henry Golding knocks it out of the park. It's really good time. Check it out. Check both of these out. I think you'll definitely enjoy both of them.
Nice. I will check them out. I know. Is it called Heretic or Heretic?
It might be Heretic. I might have mispronounced it.
Oh no, I'm just asking because I don't. You're asking the person.
I think it's Heretic. I don't even know what I just said because I'm so excited thinking about The Gentleman. Because if you have not seen The Gentleman, definitely do that one first, because you will. That one will definitely be one I think you will enjoy a lot of. But what have you been watching?
So I actually went back and watched an older film called Chronicles of Riddick, which is the sequel to Pitch Black. Now, I'm a big fan of Pitch Black. I really love the concept and the idea of it. I thought Vin Diesel was awesome in it as Riddick. And then I watched Chronicles of Riddick when it came out, and I did not like the film. I went back and watched it again to kind of give it a second try, and I still don't like it. I mean, it's not horrible, but I think you're just doing too much with the character, and it's kind of like went from like monsters in the space planet to he's like the descendant of this ancient tribe, and it was just like okay. So I'm not a big fan of it. I haven't seen Riddick in a long time, so I'll try to watch that. But Chronicles of Riddick, I thought it would be more enjoyable as I gave it time to kind of like marinate and go back. Okay, I'll go back to it. I couldn't get into it. Tone, have you seen Chronicles of Riddick?
Charles only likes one movie by Vin Diesel, and it's none of the Riddick movies. So you're not. I just never been a fan, and and for a second, honestly, if you were going to praise this movie, I was actually going to go another route because my dad would watch this movie all the time. I just wouldn't. And I was gonna be like, "Are you seriously him, man?" Because you just keep bringing these bangers out. But no, I'm glad you did not go that route. This one particularly is could be the worst of all of them in my eyes. They try to do too much. Vin Diesel, I think, in Pitch Black, that's about as manageable as the character.
Yeah, but the character could be. It just wasn't good. But I actually moved on to something that was actually enjoyable, and I started watching the RoboCop documentary that they have on Screenbox that's on Prime. The good thing there is that it goes through the entire making of RoboCop from the inception of the idea, where the idea came from, to like little background scenes to how they did the effects, and they did them like awesome, especially the RoboCop basic computer graphics that were shown. They did that with different screens instead of doing it with that we have now CGI. It's just like crazy all that stuff they had to do back in the 80s. Peter Weller's on there and he looks horrible. But I thought it was like one of the best documentaries I've seen. If you haven't seen it, you're a big fan of RoboCop, definitely check it out. Tony is frozen, and I'll bring him back. He's back. Hey, he's back.
Here. Hello.
It's okay. You were frozen, but
The wind. It was the wind.
It was the wind. Ben says, does Riddick drive more than a quarter mile at a time? Yeah. Yes, he does, Jen. He does. Me and my buddy Johnny always make fun of Vin Diesel and his the way he grips a Corona. The way he's like this with a Corona. It just cracks me up. Also, Corona is a horrible beer, and he loves it.
Can you guess the one Vin Diesel movie I like? I'll give you 3 guesses.
Find Me Guilty?
No.
Have you ever seen Find Me Guilty?
I heard it's good, though. No, I have not watched that one.
Oh, Sam says Boiler Room.
And Sam has won the prize. Good job, Sam.
Oh, really? You like Fast and Furious?
No.
What about Man
if you
Apart?
if you were like, I got these free passes, would you like to go? I'd probably have to get in a different state of mind, and then I'd have a blast. But if you were just like, let's go watch this, I'd be like, not really. Can we watch something else, please?
Every time I see Fast and the Furious, I cannot help but think about Richard Roper.
Triple X is even worse than that. It's like a step below than that.
The Xander Zone, bro.
Oh
but Richard Roper told us how much he hates the Fast and the Furious series.
I don't blame him.
But yeah. So the RoboCop documentary, Tone, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on Prime. It's on Screenbox. It has all like the basically the background of the movie. Like basically it's like a deep dive what we do, but it's in 10 episodes. It's really good.
I'll check that one out, definitely. I saw when you sent this to me, I didn't even know there was a documentary, so I'll definitely check this one out. And Brian is right. Babylon AD is equally not very good at all.
Vin Diesel, he just keeps making them hits, man. So that's what we've been watching. Let us know what you've been watching over on Blue Sky or on Twitter. We still check it every once in a while and post our stuff there. But I've mostly moved over to Blue Sky. I know Tony has as well. We are on Blue Sky. It's the Penguin Studios on Blue Sky. And let us know, or let us know in the comments what you've been watching this week. So, Tone, let's get to the man of the hour. Let's get to our special guest here. And we have a little intro for him.
The mic is hot, the room's alive tonight. King ASF's and he's taking flight. Sam Reeves on the court field or the greens. All sports scene, yeah, he's ruling like a king. Crown on the mic, he's the boss on the track. Sam Reeves stepping up, never looking back. Call it play by play with the fiery scheme. King ASF reigns on the all sports scene.
I'm trying to find out who that was. I know the song is important. Just give me a. Oh, sorry. That was a record label because that song you were just playing. They called me already, and they say it's the best.
That was insane, and I enjoyed every second of it.
That was an AI song for you, Sam.
That was beautiful. This is what AI was meant to be, as Matthew McConaughey would say.
Yes, sir. So King Ass is back on the show.
It took me a second to think of what you just put in the comments here. It just finally clicked. That's a good one. Because I was like, Vin Diesel's in Marvel. I was like, he's not in Marvel, and then he's Groot. So of course,
too much dialogue.
Too much dialogue. I like.
Sam Reeves,
Thank you
New
for
York
joining
Finance.
us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Also, the subject we're going to be talking about tonight is the horrible De Niro movies, and you gave us the subject of do one where you talk about an actor's horrible movies.
I did.
I know we've been talking about actors' good movies, so why not go into a horrible one, huh?
Yeah, that was, you guys do the 5 and 5 a lot deep dives, and I was like, you know what? Why don't you guys try something, like, hey, let's talk about some shit movies.
Yeah,
and every actor's got crap movies, so this is why it's a good, great topic.
And
they probably don't want anybody talking about them, but
no.
Brian says Godfather 2 horrible, and the one we're talking about today, I mean, he's got some great movies, and he's got movies that are like this.
Sorry, but your kid was out of line. I only did my daughter. I'm sorry. No, please. No, please.
I did that for baloney.
Was hoping he would fall.
Oh my God, I just died.
Yeah, that was for baloney. He asked me to put that in there for today.
I've never laughed on a podcast as hard as I just laughed right there. So thank you. I needed that. I was thinking of that for some reason too. This whole entire process, and I was like, how do I bring that part up? But that was good.
Now, do you think The Irishman was a bad movie, you guys, before we get into the picks?
I do.
I never saw it just because I heard about all the terrible de-aging everything that they used there. Right? And I was like, I don't want to waste 3 hours of my life on that.
It didn't flow to me, but
I think it was too long of a film. But I don't think it was like one of his worst films. The de-aging stuff did look really, really weird.
That scene you just played,
even just from that scene, I saw it immediately.
I was like, I can't do this. Something's not right here.
Like, it just looks like an 85-year-old man with really bad makeup on.
Yeah, he's kicking people.
He can't kick anybody.
Yeah, it was.
It's like watching Mini-Me kick somebody.
Oh man!
That's shout out to Baloney because he texted me today and said, "You gotta play this scene." Like, all right.
Well, he was amazing. That was great. That made my whole.
But Sam, let's get into your first pick, my man.
Let's do it.
You're a good man for helping us. I appreciate it.
I mean, you know that nobody can know about this. You know that, right? I mean, nobody. It's very important. I mean, whatever you want, it'll all go bad. If anybody knows, bad for everybody. You understand that?
Of course, Sully.
That was the best clip I could find from this movie. 2011 Stone, and he plays the role of Jack. It's directed by John Curran. His first movie that he has is, I'm gonna mispronounce this because it's hard. Chappaquiddick. Chappaquiddick. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mercy Road and Tracks. It stars Edward Norton, Mila Jovovich, and Francis Conroy. And the movie had a budget of $22 million and a box office of $10 million. Before we get to your reasons why, Sam, you can usually tell that a movie's bad because when I look for trivia for this, I went to several websites and I only could find 6 points that were really interesting. So, Sam, tell us why this is one of De Niro's bad ones.
I saw this movie at my dad's house, like in the summer. We got it, I think, on Redbox or something at the time. And we had no idea what it was, but my dad's like, oh, it's De Niro and Edward Norton. This should be a good movie. It wasn't. It's Edward Norton, as you can see right there on the screen with the cornrows going on, immediately had me laughing. It's my God, the dialogue is terrible. Mila Jovovich is not the pick for this film. But you know, you look at the cast, you're like, yeah, all right, it might not be a terrible thing, but oh my goodness, what a waste of I think $1.50 at that point to rent a movie for the night. But yeah, I wish I would have gotten my money back.
I mean, you could buy a Redbox machine now. They're not
Yeah,
existent.
I'm pretty sure. Probably for not that expensive.
And we lost Tony, but I can go against. Brian asks, "What's Redbox?" And Mailman Jack, the real Mailman Jack, comes out and says, "Carrot Top sex organ." Wow.
Yeah.
I saw this. So when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I started laughing because it showed Edward Norton with braids, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" It cracked me up. The premise, I guess, is okay. He works in a prison, and the guy basically gets his wife. Edward Norton gets his wife to fill in and kind of like sexually seduce him to do favors. I kind of get the premise of it, but it just was really, really bad. Mila Jovovich is really, really good in the Resident Evil movies because she doesn't talk that much, and in Fifth Element because of multipass. But this movie, it just was not good. Edward Norton, like two great actors too that were on the score. They were in the score together. Apparently, during the filming of this, a drunk fan approached Robert De Niro while they were filming it, and she was arrested and taken to the hospital, which I thought was hilarious. It just wasn't an enjoyable film, which is too bad because it could have been hopefully a better script was written with two like heavyweight of actors, and they just gave us the shit sandwich to eat. What'd you think of Stone Tone?
Oh, it's not good. It's not good in a lot of different ways. Most of them are the ways that would put you to sleep. It's the script is awful. But like in these type of movies, like I've only seen it one time. But like if I had to watch it again, I would go into it as like, is this a prequel to Resident Evil? That might give this a little bit more excitement because, or is this like Taxi Driver once he got it all together in his head and now he's living this lawyer life? But this is too much. This is too boring for me. And Norton is awful in this movie.
So bad.
And Norton, and honestly, De Niro isn't at his worst. It's Norton that really drags this movie down bad because of, as he described, his cornrows, his overall person. I don't know who he was going for, but whoever he was shadowing for this did him some real disjustice.
Well, apparently he shadowed real prisoners from the Southern Michigan Correctional Facility.
Well, it would be almost, to me, then he's almost, and I'm not saying this like to be like somebody who's like trying to like, but he's almost doing it then into a race, like almost a racial effect, because it's like, because that's the problem in the role, is that it's not only that he's doing that, but he's doing it really bad. Like, whereas if you see Tropic Thunder, Downey Jr. is playing a comedic performance, and he actually does it better than whatever Edward Norton's doing in this movie, which again is hampered by just an awful script. I mean, so like you got awful, and Edward Norton is never awful. So something was wrong. Something went wrong. But
and
for Edward, that's what it is.
The audio clip that you played to intro this, I've only seen this movie once, and it was a way long time ago. But as soon as I heard that clip, it like snapped right in my head. Like I immediately saw it yesterday, and I was like, I already remember this scene. I hate this so much.
Well, I've never laughed so hard at a De Niro clip and then wanted to fall asleep so quickly by you playing that clip, because it just like there's no like a movie like this. There's no action at all.
No,
it's literally just like, I'm in jail, and De Niro's coming to see me, and I got this girl. It's just like, okay, this is just. I rather honestly watch Pretty Woman with you two at 2 p.m. on a Monday than watch this. But that's just me.
It was bad. Like I told Sam when you got Rose Tone, like I knew it was gonna be a bad film when I saw the trailer and him with cornrows.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I was just like, what the hell is this?
And I'll look at a box, like I'll look at a movie and like I'll like pick it up and I'll stare at it and I'll be like, why aren't you good? You should be good. because honestly, they're both great together in the score. So like they've worked De Niro and Edward Norton. So like in this movie, you know, and Mila Jovovich, I mean, she could go either way, but it's the script, you know, and it's just, and then Edward Norton's bad. So
yeah, it just like took away from any of their talents in this film.
It really did.
Brian said, "Don't diss Pretty Woman."
I love Pretty Woman. That's my point. My point though is like on a Saturday, most people are watching football or sports at 2 p.m. Not Pretty Woman, but this 10 remake. They're making a 10 remake with Edward Norton.
I guess I haven't heard anything.
Cool.
But Sam, breaking news here on the
breaking news
podcast. The 10 remake. Yeah, I saw this movie maybe twice, Sam, and like I don't want to see it again. I didn't even watch. Usually, I watch the movies for the review. I skip it. That's why.
don't do it for review.
It's just really bad.
Yeah. I don't even know where the hell you can find this movie anymore.
Turnstone, you know, it's just that bad. What a bad title for a movie, too.
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. When I was looking for it, I kept looking up Stone, Robert De Niro Stone, and it kept like showing me other movies. And then like I'm like, okay, Edward Norton Stone, and it showed that goofy ass cornrow picture. I'm like, Jesus Christ, okay. But yeah, not a great movie in De Niro's library or filmography.
He's looking at you, because you just talked about his hair. Look at him.
I like Edward Norton, man, but he was just bad in this one.
What you say about my hair, bro?
Yeah, bro. Nah, it's bad. But let's move on to our next one, and this one wasn't any better.
Wait, hang on one second. Why does it look like De Niro is like photoshopped?
I know.
It looks so weird.
That's why I love the picture.
It looks so weird.
That's why I picked it. I love it.
His face is really weird too.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep this picture around in every episode we have going.
Throw it up.
Right?
Throw it up there.
Because he's like looks like he's mad. He looks ridiculous. This is a great photo.
Wow. Wow.
Oh boy.
He does look pretty. I just noticed that too, Sam. It's
freaking me out.
But let's move on to our next one, boys.
If I go down, Greg, I need to know someone will be responsible for the whole Burns clan. So I ask you, Greg, are you prepared to be the Godfucker?
The Godfucker.
The Godfucker.
2010's Little Fockers. He plays the role of Jack Burns. It's directed by Paul Weitz, who did Fatherhood, Admission, Bel Castro, and also American Pie. Yes, Jen, this is worse than the Herald. It stars Ben Stiller, Terry Polo, Owen Wilson, Jessica Alba, Blythe Danner, Barbara Streisand, and Dustin Hoffman. This movie actually made money, which surprised me. It had a budget of $100 million and made $310 million at the box office. This is where I disagree with you, Tony. He said to Brian, I'm sorry. He says all the Fokker movies were effing trash. I disagree. I thought the first one was very good.
Well, first one's good, but two is not good.
Two I thought wasn't bad, but it wasn't the first one.
Oh, but Scarface is bad. I'm sorry.
Yes, Scarface is horrible.
But Meet the Fockers, you know, that's got something good to it. Get out of here.
I Meet the Fockers doesn't have somebody who's supposed to be playing a Latin character with a horrible accent.
No, it said it's got Dustin Hoffman, who's trying to be overly cheesy and doesn't pull it off at all, and Barbara Streisand, who's again, get out of here. This is a bad decision of casting.
Why? Because Barbara Streisand?
No, I like Barbara Streisand. I'll watch The Star Is Born with you tomorrow at 2 p.m. right after Pretty Woman.
What's going on tomorrow at 2 p.m. that you want me to come to your house?
I just started saying that because it sounded like something funny. I can keep.
He's got a standing appointment to watch movies.
That's it. You know, we're meeting. We're watching romantic comedies tomorrow at 2 p.m.
No, this one I thought it started like it kind of shows like the series how they try to pump money out of shit, and I'm pretty sure the same thing with Reddick. If I watch that again. The first one was good. The second one was and the third one is
really
shit.
Good laughs.
This one was horrible. Like it wasn't. They kind of squeezed all the juice of comedy and creativity they could out of this series.
There's a line I used from the first one so much. It's no wonder why this goddamn thing burnt down. You put so much goddamn lacquer on it. I probably say that every time something's going wrong. It's just hilarious, but when you get to this film, it's dry. The jokes are dry.
Yes, extremely. Mailman Jack says you just want homemade enchiladas tomorrow at 2, Tony.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. Can we watch Pretty Woman and eat enchiladas? That would sound amazing.
Sam, have you ever seen this film, and what'd you think of it if you have?
I have not seen Little Fockers.
Thank the Lord.
I saw Meet the Fockers before I saw Meet the Parents, so I had no idea what the hell I was watching when I saw Meet the Fockers. I enjoyed Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers, but even when I saw like Little Fockers came out, I was like, yeah, it seems a little tired. I don't think they need a third one of these. And it seems I was right.
Yeah, and it's like Jessica Alba's role in here is just stupid.
I forgot.
It's just a bad film. It did like I didn't usually Ben Stiller kind of cracks me up even in the bad movies he has. This one just I don't know. I didn't really find myself laughing at all.
This was definitely a cash grab for them.
Yeah, and they made money.
Right.
It was a crappy movie. Tone, do you want to go off on it some more? Oh, he froze. Look at his picture. Tony's got the MSS internet tonight. Telemundo internet.
Yep.
But yeah, it just to me, it just wasn't good at all. I tried getting into it. I just couldn't get into it. Brian S says everyone is way too over the top in all of them, and not arm wrestling over the top. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the whole point of it being over the top.
Not Travis Bajan over the top, man.
My wife says Jinx was a star.
Jinxie Cat was the star.
Jinxie Cat was also Meet the Fockers has Ray Santiago in there as as little Greg that everybody thinks is his son, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. And then, every time like my mom always quotes the old housekeeper, I got the boob job. We quote that all the time.
Yeah, it's I mean, it has such good moments, but this one didn't have anything. I mean, I guess their big comedic scene was the Viagra and the shot of Viagra that he takes, or whatever he takes in his penis, and he has him come save him or something. It just I don't know. It was stupid. And there's Oscar winners in this film. It was stupid, so bad. But let's get into Tony's film that he wants to argue with me about.
Man drank himself into a $7 casket, but that ain't gonna happen to me because I'm a master diver. And maybe you'll remember that next time you imply we got anything in common. You read me, Cookie? Get your goddamn Wisconsin ass back to bed, no hell.
Men of Honor, released in 2000. He plays the role of Chief Billy Sunday. The movie was directed by George Tillman Jr., who also directed Big George Foreman, The Longest Ride, Faster, Notorious, Soul Food, and Scenes of the Soul. The film also stars Cuba Gooding Jr., Charlize Theron, Anujuan Ellis Taylor, Hal Halbrook, Hoyt McCallan, and Michael Rappaport. It had a budget of $32 million and earned $82 million at the box office. So, Tony, tell me why this is a horrible movie for you from Niro.
Did you hear him speak just in that clip? Or did you hear somebody else?
I knew that's immediately where he was going.
But let's start there. But again, there isn't a De Niro movie I don't think I haven't seen. Like I can bring up a movie, This Boy's Life. Have you ever seen that movie yet?
Yeah.
Where he plays, again, his voice is close to this one, but the script is so much more stronger. I mean, if you want me to believe in this story, you're going to have to sell me a little bit more. And I remember when it came out, the trailer, it looked bad. What do you like about this movie? Because you immediately shot back and was like, I love this movie. So
I do.
Why do you
love it? I think it's one of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s probably stronger. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of stronger roles.
That's what I was just going to say after that. I mean,
and
was Boat Trip
Jerry Maguire? I've never seen Boat Trip. But actually, I don't think it was. I mean, it was based off a true story, even though Robert De Niro's character wasn't a real person. But Chief Carl Boucher was a real person. I thought it was it was an enjoyable movie for what it was. I do like the ending when he says when he stands at ease. And I thought Robert De Niro beating the shit out of the Navy guy was always funny to me.
But that's the part like that. Like again, I think at this point, this is where what year did this come out? I don't have
2000.
it. Yeah, okay.
Did you see this comment?
Oh my god. Jesus, Brian.
Brian S. Jesus Christ. Yeah, continue, Tony. I'm sorry, I had to acknowledge that horrible comment.
I'll talk about that comment off air. There's something to it, but never to this. Again, I can't buy the story. And De Niro is a couple years removed from Casino and Heat. So to me, at this time, it's like, shouldn't he be coming out with something a little bit better than this? I mean, to me, this should be a role that's like reserved for like, hold on a second here. I don't even know. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking of someone like a Dennis Quaid. You know what I mean? Like somebody who
is Quaid your go-to when a movie's not supposed to be good, so you throw Quaid in there.
Well, when I think of this movie, it reminds me like you can go to the movies and see this one in Frequency back to back and be like, wow, I could have slept 4 hours in my bed, but I guess
like Frequency.
Well, I know you do. You like some bad movies. That's okay. We like you still. It's good. But this movie,
you like Scarface.
But Scarface, again, you see people walking around in malls and in cities and in towns wearing Scarface stuff. Do you see people walking around wearing Men in Honor shirts or Frequency?
That don't mean shit. I see people
Well, it means that people like one
fucking...
of them more. I'll tell you what it does mean, that people like one more than the other. I can tell you that.
People like pineapple on their pizza doesn't mean it's right.
But people don't walk around with pineapple on their pizza on their shirt.
I've seen people with pineapple on pizza shirts, bro.
Okay, but again, back to this. Look at this picture right here. Look at De Niro's hair. This is a guy who
was underwater.
Again, who is he? I used to have this little figurine when I was a kid. It was a little submarine man. He went underwater and
he's a Navy diver.
Up and back. That's who he reminds me of. I just
goddamn Navy diver, Tony.
I like, honestly, if you really want to know the truth, I think the Fokker series was better than this. But that's
horrible. Horrible pick. So, Sam, have you seen this movie?
I've always seen it on TV. I've never actually sat down and watched it. I've always seen it in parts, but I do remember De Niro's attempt at an accent in this film,
which is crazy because he did Max Cady from Cape Fear, and that was like a Louisiana accent, and it wasn't that bad. He was actually nominated for an Oscar for that role. So I don't know what he was trying to go with in this role, his accent.
It didn't work. It was almost as bad as his attempt at Killers of the Flower Moon to have any sort of accent. So.
Yeah, oh my god, he got nominated for an Oscar for that one too.
I know. I wanted to pick that film, but I didn't because I liked the overall process.
Yeah,
of the film,
but here's a little positive to De Niro. A lot of this has to do with because it's a biography. I don't really like cookie cutter stories. That's what this is. He's not playing with much to work with. You know what I mean? So, like, to be fair, it's a safe performance, and I think sometimes maybe that's why I don't like it either. The accent.
Brian, your opinion on this movie does not matter when you say The Crow is bad. So that's all I gotta say.
Well, again, you know, what can I say?
Sam said, "Sam, was it a bad movie? Sam, was it horrible?
It wasn't horrible. It's just not a good movie."
See, Tone, he said it wasn't horrible. That's all I heard.
It's not a good movie, but it's not a horrible movie.
Man, Cuba cannot catch a break, man. How many movies has Cuba been in? He was in that movie I talked about, Harold. He was in that movie where he plays a janitor with a kid that looks like he's like 50. That was the whole point of that movie. I mean, and he's in a decent movie, Men of Honor. You guys can't give him his props.
He was.
I actually think his brother was more talented. I think it was Omar Gooding.
Yeah, he's in Smart Guy.
Yeah,
he's Mo. Mo from Smart Guy.
My favorite Cuba film is Snow Dogs. So.
Oh God,
Snow Dogs, classic.
Oscar worthy.
Speaking of Oscar worthy, listen to this one.
Uh-oh.
Are you talking to me? And who else are you talking to? Are you talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here. So you must be talking to me. And you are lying! Now catch Moose and Squirrel, and next time use the CDI on them.
Rocky and Bullwinkle, released in 2000. He played the role of the fearless leader. It was directed by Des McAnuff, who did Cousin Betty, Jersey Boy Live, Caesar, and Cleopatra. He did a lot of TV shows. I don't understand why after I saw this movie. It stars Rene Russo, Piper Perabo, Jason Alexander, one of the Quaids, Randy Quaid, June Foray, Keith Scott, Janine Garofalo, and Carl Reiner. It had a budget of $76 million in the box office of $35 million. Tone. Yes, make me a shirt, Jen. Make me a
please make it
honors. Sam, this is one of your picks. Tell us why you picked this one.
I saw this movie when it came out in theaters. I was 7 years old. So, I was a child. I had no idea. I was like, "Hey, cartoon movie, yay, fun!" I watched it again when I got a little bit older, and I was like, "What the hell did we go see in the theater?" Like, why the hell did they pick Robert De Niro, Rene Russo, and Jason Alexander to be these
quite the trio right there.
Three very good actors in their own different way.
I think this is a time where they started going off those old cartoons. I mean, Dudley Do-Right was made with Brendan Fraser. That was really, really bad.
Yeah, it was horrible.
But movies to make, like you made like Dudley Do-Right and like Rocky Bowling. Like, why the hell would you make maybe an animated one? But
right, because like the animated show was so fun and so cute and like good, and then they're like, "Oh, let's do it like that." I'm a kid. I'm like, okay, and then that get up for De Niro.
To be fair, they were playing around with the beginning of doing the animation and the live action together.
Mm-hmm. So like a Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, well, like look now, they got Moana coming out, and it's not Moana,
Lilo and Stitch.
Yes, and it's like, and everyone's like, "This is gonna be great, a lot of stuff." Like again, this came out I think at the wrong time, and people weren't really at the time like they were really harking on the performances of these actors in this movie. De Niro got reamed for his performance in this movie, like bad,
rightfully so.
Like and like you just again when you brought this up, it made me laugh because I was I think I'm a couple years older than you, Sam, and I remember when it came out, and again, it was like to us because I think I was like 13 or 14. You could just be like, "Stay away! It looks like poison. You don't want to see this." But you being 7. Even my dad who grew up with like Rocky and Bullwinkle was like, "This is awful looking. This looks like garbage." But a kid who would watch this and be like, "It could be okay." You know what I mean? But De Niro, when you realize this is the man who, as you stated, played in Cape Fear, and this is him with this little eyepiece on in this picture, or this face right here.
Oh my God. He looks like Ben Kingsley right there.
It's not good. I mean, to be fair,
Kingsley now.
If you go to like Al Pacino, I mean, what do you think of you ever see Dick Tracy?
Yeah.
You like Dick Tracy?
Actually I like it more for the cinematography and the sets than I do actually for the acting.
But like look at Pacino in that movie, who plays again an equally ridiculous performance than De Niro, but it plays to who Pacino is. This isn't De Niro. Nothing about this performance.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the things I saw was Robert De Niro as the fearless leader is known as the first actor to portray a cartoon character using method acting. So he never got out of character for the fearless leader.
Oh my God.
I
like going to Starbucks.
To be honest with you, I've seen this movie one time. And I decided not to see it again. I like Jason Alexander. I like Rene Russo. Apparently, Danny DeVito.
Pretty Woman, Jason Alexander.
Yeah. Apparently, Danny DeVito and Meryl Streep were supposed to play Boris and Natasha, but they had issues for copyright at the time.
But Danny DeVito makes sense.
Yeah, but listen, another pair they said they actually asked Cher and Joe Pesci to play those roles. And they turned them down. That was probably Pesci's like smartest choice and Cher's. It's just not a good movie. I do not understand the concept of it, why you would want it, but
no. And John Goodman's randomly in this film too.
Yeah, him and Billy Crystal, they're both in it.
Oh my God.
So is Keenan and Kel, they're in there too.
Yeah.
It's just so bad.
Oh my God.
Bad idea. A lot of money made to spend on a bad idea.
It's got Randy Quaid, so it's automatically up.
Oh god, Randy Quaid. Well, it's got Quaid. It's one of Tony's the Quaid family.
Well, I mean, I have no problem with the Quaid family, and I really have no problem with Dennis. Yump's the one who is a big Dennis Quaid fan. He just gets offended every time.
I don't get offended.
Yeah, you do. You're a big Frequency guy. You just said a little while ago.
Oh, I just said that just to see what you say.
Oh, I know. I like to just get under your skin.
Yump says the rookie is better than the natural, so.
Oh, it is. It has Saint Rita in it.
That is
the
that right there. If I didn't know who you were, that could cause us to get into a blow up explosion.
The monocle is killing me. Is what my wife says.
The monocle is ridiculous.
Monocles need to make a comeback. You should wear one, Brian. It look good on you.
I mean, that haircut alone.
That's what they call the glass piece of monocle. Okay.
Right. Cut your hair like this, like the monocle. And come to a Sox game. Sit next to me at a Sox game. Just do it.
And don't say anything.
Yeah, have Luke sit because Luke sits right next to me. Like have just Luke just see you in this new look and see what he says.
What the hell?
Yeah, do a double take. But yeah, this movie's really, really bad. Sam, you really picked the winner in this one, man. This is
and
do not see Rocky Bullwinkle.
De Niro is such a great actor. I was like, that's why I wanted to be like, let's pick a really good actor and find some shit movies that they did.
Yeah, this is like the top of the heap for that one, man.
Oh yeah.
This next one we're gonna talk about is God, even just bad.
Hey, why'd you call him Zachary? Answer me. Richard.
Because he wasn't responding to his own name.
That's bullshit. I want the truth. You set me up. Okay, it's okay. You needed my okay to push him, but you wanted him pushed. Why?
Paul, you've gone completely.
Stop telling me what's wrong with me and tell me what's wrong with my goddamn son.
Godson, released in 2004. He plays the role of Richard Wells. It's directed by Frank Callow and Nick Hamm. Now, the funny thing is, Frank Callow also directed this film. He has no other directing credits after this. Nick Hamm, on the other hand, did this movie.
No.
Yeah, did films like William Tell, Gigi and Nate.
You know what? Maybe that's a godsend.
Yeah, Gigi and Nate, Driven, The Journey, and Talk of Angels. The film stars Greg Kinnear, Rebecca Romaine, and Cameron Bright. At a box office of $30 million, and it made somehow $25 million. Now, when I saw this film, it looked interesting from the trailer. I was like, okay, it looks like something like maybe a thriller. It's a piece of shit. I'm not. There's no way for me to sugarcoat this film. De Niro's barely in this film, and like when I did research for it, it said that he originally planned on merely providing a brief cameo for it. But when the director Nick Hamm heard that he would be interested, he asked him to do a couple more scenes, and then they splashed like his name all over the advertisements for it, which he said he regretted. And I mean, after you see this film, I would regret it too. It's a super premise to the movie. It's overly acted. The dialogue is garbage. De Niro, I guess, tries to save it, but his lines are very, very like generic, and it's just horrible. I've seen this movie one time. Another movie I did not want to rewatch for this show, which is like the second movie I've done in a while. Besides the one I talked about earlier with Tony and Sam. This one, I did not like it the first time, and I did not want to watch it after that. That's how bad a movie is. Not my most hated movie, but just a waste of time. Have any of you seen this film?
I've never seen Godsend.
Don't.
Again, I mean, when you got a catalog like De Niro's, you're not going to, go for this movie ever at any time. Honestly, to be fair, you might even go with Rocky and Bullwinkle over this movie. Because it's that.
No, I would. I definitely
because
would.
To me, and I'm not hating here because honestly, there are some Greg Kinnear performances that I enjoy, but
Mystery Men.
He strays more towards the humorous type of side. So him screaming like that at the beginning, I couldn't help but laugh because it sounded so, to me, unbelievable, which makes the movie and De Niro playing, his role in this is unbelievable. He's got this movie in the 80s called Angel Heart, which is pretty good. And he's barely in that movie. But that movie, he's barely in that movie. But like, look at the impact he makes in that movie. And in this movie, his impact is not much.
Yeah, I did a blog on like his best roles, and I included that one because nobody ever
Yeah.
talks about that. And he just kind of mesmerizes you on the screen with that.
Mhm.
He plays the devil. But in this film, it's just
He
I mean,
doesn't
he's just in
he
there.
doesn't mesmerize you? Come on.
No, he's just there.
He's like a good
It-
child. He's a good man in this.
it's just bad.
Not good.
It's about cloning, man, and I did not enjoy it. It let me down.
The vibes from the pictures I'm seeing, it look like a bad like parody of The Exorcist.
There was a period in the late, like right when this came out, a little before it, where they were just releasing these movies where they were it's actually a prequel. No. But
Tony, finish your thought.
No, but again, it's just a lot of different movies like around this time, like where it had to either do with weird forces. You had End of Days, you had Stigmata, you had this movie, you had Bless the Child. I mean, I can go on forever of these type of movies that just all of them are not the best. But again, they could be, because The Exorcist, as you stated, is okay, and this movie is a really bad spin-off of all of everything that you dislike in a movie put together.
So Brian asked this question: was Angel Heart better than Untamed Heart? Now, Sam, have you ever seen Untamed Heart?
No.
So Untamed Heart's kind of like a romantic, I guess, drama, I guess Tony call it. It's with Marissa Tomei when she was like first breaking out like as a star, and Christian Slater. And like Christian Slater has this heart condition. They fall in love after they meet like at a restaurant. But there's a story Christian Slater tells her about his heart, of how he got his heart. He got tell him how he got his heart, Tone.
Well, first of all, before we get to that, I've been involved in middle school and in high school in hour-long debates over this scene that just brought up, because he explains a story about how he has now a baboon heart, and to me, and she believes it, and they like fall in love. But like to me, it's, and I don't know, I don't want to be, maybe this is a normal thing. Maybe baboon hearts are transported a lot, but to me, it just seemed to be a little bit unreal into the story. But could be real.
No, it's not even like, oh, I went and they gave me a baboon heart. It's like, oh, this king in the jungle was fighting this heart of a baboon. That's what he tells her. No bullshit. And like she believe.
It's been such a long time. Yeah, I forgot that. We'll see.
Yeah, it's why it's so funny. Like, and like
That's worse than I even remembered.
Spoiler alert, he dies after he catches a hockey puck in his hand. Oh, he does catch a hockey puck in his
It
hand.
had a pressure point and then he died.
No, later in the movie he dies after that. It's a horrible movie. But yeah, the fact that Brian brought it up, we just had to talk about it because Tony used to make fun of it a lot when he was younger. He said
Oscar winner Marissa Tomei.
Anything to talk about over Godsend, which is a shitty movie. It's the most fucking absurd movie ever. You and Caitlin need to watch it. Yes, Caitlin, watch this.
She would never.
Untamed Heart. I don't know, man. She likes the girly films.
I'll sell it to her as a girly film.
You like baboon hearts? You like girly films? I got the movie for you.
Yeah, you just gotta watch a Sam just for him catching the hockey puck.
You like sports too? It's gonna be great.
Oh, she's interested, Sam.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she is.
I'm sure she is.
Let's get into our next one, guys.
Yeah, what are you doing here? Some noises. They say you come out of the woods with a shovel. Everything all right? No.
Emily, all right?
You stay away.
I want to see her.
Stay away. I'm gonna call the cops.
I want to see her now.
Oh, shit! Fuck!
This one was in 2005, Hide and Seek. He played the role of David Calloway. It's directed by John Polson, who did Swim Fam and Siam Sunset. It stars Dakota Fanning, Fanky Jensen, Elizabeth Shue, Amy Irving, and Dylan Baker. The movie had a budget of $30 million and a box office of $127 million. And Brian just let us know it's free on Prime. So, Tone, tell me why you picked Hide and Seek.
Because when I was got done watching it, I wanted to go hide and seek, which was really not a game I usually played at the age of 6. I think it was like 16 when it came out. So it was really weird to have that feeling after seeing such a performance. Again, this is a man who was in Heat within the last 4 years, the 5 years that this movie came out, or 10 years, whatever it is. But again, he is playing a father who, again, throughout the whole movie, it kind of reminds me a lot of a good movie we talked about last week, Yumpa, What Lies Beneath, where like the whole movie, you're like, oh man, he's not that bad of a guy. And then the twist at the end is he was the big jerk, like the whole time, like he was the bad one. It wasn't no evil spirits, it was him. So like you have to take your mind then and twist it around as De Niro being like a creeper. It's just too much for me for him. Like I do enjoy De Niro doing every kind of performance, but something about De Niro being a creeper, it's just not something that I enjoy. Like, because he's in Sleepers, but again, he doesn't play the creeper. So I'm okay. But him in this movie, it just wasn't a good performance. Now, to be fair, he's actually got a lot of really bad performances in the last 15 years. But this one is just one that I remember going to the movie theaters with friends and being pretty upset when we left because it was like, what was this? But you might like this one. I don't know. Can you see me now?
Have you seen this film, Sam?
I saw it once a really long time ago and don't remember much about it, but seeing that shower curtain right there, I remember that scene specifically. And I remember just Dakota Fanning looking like a pretty much a child cancer survivor.
She wore a wig for this show.
She was so pale in the movie, and then like the dark hair, she just looked sick. It was horrifying.
So when I
don't know. Tonight I'm gonna have to weigh this after. Is it gonna be the child cancer survivor, or is it gonna be Cuba Gooding Jr. as Radio in that movie?
Oh God.
It's really gonna be. They're great. They're really they're amazingly witty. So good job. But yes.
No. So when I saw this trailer for this film, I thought it was actually gonna be. It looked pretty interesting. Because of the trailer, and then I was fooled by the trailer. Of course, I went to go see it. Was not happy with the ending of it or the movie at all. I thought Dakota Fanning wasn't that bad in the film. I just think that this is probably like when Robert De Niro kind of like is like just winging it. So it's for the first time in 70 years, 20th Century Fox shipped prints of the movie without the final reel, which was shipped separately. This was done as a security measure, so people wouldn't be able to reveal the ending. And the ending is horrible. Spoiler alert, I mean, the movie's fucking 20 years old. If you haven't seen it, I mean, you're probably not going to see it. The killer or the bad person is Robert De Niro. He has a split personality. That's the whole point of the movie.
I think I said that about a couple minutes ago. But.
Yeah, he says he's a creeper.
What a creeper! I mean, but people care so much about this movie. Let's even fill them in a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's give them all the details on hide and seek.
The crowd is chanting for more hide and seek content.
They do want more. They want more.
More hide and seek. More
hide and seek.
It's bad. I'm very surprised it made 127 million off 30 million. Maybe the trailer sold a lot of people like it did me.
Pretty much did. The people are clamoring for a deep dive on hide and seek, guys.
No, Jesus Christ! I don't know if I can.
And you just did our announcement. We're piggybacking off of this.
And it's this is another trivia point. This is how great this trivia is for this movie. It was so great. Contrary to popular belief, Dakota Fanning wore a brown wig rather than having a red one.
Ooh.
That's just
fun fact.
I'm just like, why is this important? I just put it in there because I'm like, this is the stupidest fact I ever read, but it was there. But yeah, I had to fill some time, time filler. But
it's good.
This movie's bad, man. I mean, geez.
Well, the thing about it is again, I think as it's become apparent, De Niro is cashing in paychecks. You can tell when he's working with good directors and doing things that are usually in what you think De Niro is, And when you see this one, it seems like this is something more of a role that Dennis Quaid would play.
Yes. And the funny thing is, De Niro did Men of Honor in 2000, Rocky and Bullwinkle in 2000. He did God's in 2004.
Uh-huh.
He did this film, Hide and Seek, in 2005, and he did Stone in 2011 and Little Fockers in 2010. So the 2000s are pretty shitty years for Robert De Niro.
Not good at all.
And this next film was a real big letdown for me because I expected big things out of this one. And Sam, we were going to talk about this one if you didn't pick it. It's just a real letdown for us. Let's get into this one, guys.
Is this the number to call to report a case of police brutality? Cat got your tongue?
Out on bail again?
What, you think you can scam me a little? What do you want?
Be careful, detective. My taxes pay your salary.
You don't pay any taxes, you owe like these. Get to the point. Come on.
2008's Righteous Kill. He plays the role of Turk. It's directed by Joe Abnett, who did Fried Green Tomatoes, The War, Red Corner, 88 Minutes, and Three Christ, which is the last movie he did. So you kind of see where his career is going. The film stars Al Pacino, Carlo Gugino, 50 Cent, John Leguizamo, Brian Dennehy, Donnie Wahlberg, and Trilby Glover. It had a budget of $60 million and $79 million at the box office was made. Sam, tell us why you picked this one.
Okay, so there's a story behind this film that why I saw it. My brother was with his girlfriend at the time. He went over to her house and her parents were watching this movie and they're like, "Oh, come watch this movie with us." My brother comes home and he goes, "I just saw the worst fucking movie of my life and you need to see what I saw."
You need to see.
So we sit down and watch this movie and I'm like, what the hell is this horrible fucking cop drama you're showing me right now with very well past their prime actors right now? And if you look at the cast, it's not bad. Even Sterling K. Brown, a young Sterling K. Brown's in this film, and John Leguizamo and all these guys. You're like, all right, it can't be that bad. And oh my god, was this a letdown?
So thinking about this film, I know Pacino recently came out and said that he was going broke, so he had to do some films. And I know we all know that De Niro has been having money problems. I'm guessing that's probably why they did this film. But when I heard, I think De Niro announced this film, he might have been promoting another one on a late night show. He announced he was doing a film with Al Pacino. I was like, oh shit, those are two heavyweights. They haven't been together since Heat. But I love that movie. And then I heard they're gonna be playing detectives. I'm like, cool, that's kind of cool. Then you hear they have, Donnie Wahlberg's in it. I'm like, okay. And then John Leguizamo's in it. I'm like, okay, he was in, Carlito's Way, and then 50 Cent. I'm like, what the fuck is 50 Cent gonna be in here for? And I watched it, and it was just so bad, and it just shocked me that the dialogue's horrible in this film. The acting is when Pacino at the end, his name is Rooster too. What the fuck kind of name is Rooster?
Rooster.
Yeah, his acting at the end, and I was like, wow, it's just bad. It wasn't enjoyable.
So bad. And then when you just talked about the director who directed 88 Minutes, I'm like, that tracks. That movie was fucking terrible too.
Terrible movie.
And I was thinking this was basically what it felt like was the start of both Pacino and De Niro's just slide into fading out of Hollywood.
Yeah, and then Pacino did Jack and Jill. He might have did it before this. I can't remember.
I think that was so yeah.
But then De Niro said, we did such a great job with 50 Cent. Let's do that film Freelancers, which is another fucking horrible film that we're not going to talk about tonight in terms of the list. But the fact that they're in two bad movies, maybe we should stop doing movies with 50 fucking Cent.
Yeah.
Just the way he talks, there's a movie, and I'm talking about 50 Cent right now. There's a movie, have you seen his tone where he plays a football player who gets cancer and then he becomes real skinny?
50 Cent?
Yes.
I've never heard of anything like that, but I'm interested now.
It's some weird movie. I can't. The only reason I remember this movie is because when I used to work at the county, it was one of the movies, the inspirational films they try to show the kids. And it was not inspirational at all because I mean he was a complete asshole in that film. He like stole his brother's girlfriend and then he gets cancer and he loses all his weight. And like I heard when I was reading reviews for people were like, oh, people who were on the internet were saying 50 Cent should get an Oscar nomination. And I'm like, what the fuck were you watching? That movie was horrible. Like I cannot think. All Things Fall Apart, I think it's called. Yeah, All Things Fall Apart. It's a direct-to-video movie, which tells you right there how great it is. It's he's not a great actor. Don't get me wrong. I think he's hilarious in terms of like other stuff he does, but in terms of acting,
movie poster.
Yeah, bro. Have you seen it?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's his face,
What's
right?
it called? What's it called?
I'll put it up right now. All Things Fall Apart.
With Ray Liotta?
Yeah, Ray Liotta's in it too. Yeah, he's in it. He plays a doctor, which is even funnier.
Oh my god!
Like Ray Liotta, he played. I'll put up the scene right now of it if I can find it.
There's a still of 50 Cent in dreads.
No, but there's this one too. Like, yeah, he has dreads in the film.
Oh my god!
But this is him when he loses all the weight.
Yeah,
like he looks bad.
Oh my god!
He's supposed to lose bad because he has cancer, but I'm like,
folks, this will be one of the movies that I watch for next week. I promise you, this will be one of my 2 picks. I'm letting it out right now.
Oh my god! Just looking.
Sounds
at
really good. It sounds like he got cheated out of an Oscar.
Oh my god! Brian S says, I need a movie with Tracy Morgan and Al Pacino where they just scream nonsense at each other. They could find a role for Dennis Quaid too.
No, they should have.
Could Dennis Quaid act like he acts like at any given Sunday when he can't go back into the football game and he's like, I can't go back in.
Every time I hear Quaid's name, I just think about your line. You blabbed about Mars Quaid.
Well, that's what I say. That's great too.
I know. That's why I say
Quaid. I like that Quaid.
You'll have Tracy Morgan, Al Pacino, and the Dennis Quaid as Ronald Reagan.
Oh god. Yeah, this movie, that movie with 50 Cent is horrible. All Things Fall Apart, and that just goes back to Righteous Kill, where he's not a good actor, and you have these 2 great actors. You have Brian Dennehy, who's a pretty decent actor. You have Donnie Wahlberg, actually, New Kids on the Block. Donnie Wahlberg, he's actually pretty decent in Blue Bloods. And John Leguizamo is very versatile. He's a very good actor, which they just gave him a shit script, and it's just a bad film. I did not like it at all.
Yeah, like you said, I remember De Niro talking about this movie, and like it was everywhere in the media. Like, oh, De Niro and Pacino are gonna be back together again. Now it's we're getting this again, and everyone's like, oh, I wonder what it's gonna be. And they're like, oh, cop drama. Everyone's like, oh, it might be like 7. No,
yeah.
Pacino's got this acting style, and he kind of starts doing it a lot, like in Heat, where he's like, of course, you see all the memes. But then what he tries to do is bring this to every performance where it's not really like acting. It's like, oh, he's like chewing gum and everyone's like, oh, okay. What are you going to say, Al? He's like,
So
there's a lot of breathing. It's a lot of not. You see him in the picture. He's adjusting his tie. It's like a lot of motion.
A lot of
grunts. Then like he does it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's just like, and you're like, oh, that's Pacino. We love him for it. But like, he does it sometimes in this movie. It's the whole entire role. And then at the end, with the turn of the cards, you're like, oh my God, just shut up. You're almost like, all right, Al,
this is another thing too. Let's listen to this trivia point here. This is a trivia point from Righteous Kill. Carla Gugino appears as Robert De Niro's sex partner in Righteous Kill. A notable callback, remember this, a notable callback to her role as his daughter in this boy's life. How is that a fucking notable callback? That's from IMDb. That line is from IMDb.
What?
I was like,
a notable callback to her playing his daughter.
Yeah, how is that a notable callback?
That's not.
And in terms of Pacino tone, like that persona does well in certain roles. Like I think when Pacino did the Ricky Roma and Glengarry Glen Ross, and then he brought that to Son of the Woman, like those were like he thought, okay, I want an Oscar for this. Let me just keep doing this shit. Because then he did it kind of in Heat, and Heat was okay. And then he just kept doing it, and it just kept getting worse. He did it in Devil's Advocate, and I was like, okay, a little over the top, but you know, he was Devil. And then he
Jack
just
and
kept
Jill.
doing it. Yeah, he just kept doing it. Jack and Jill, and just starts screaming at people. It's just
Dunkin' Donuts. Ah!
Dunkin' Chino. It was just, I don't know, man.
I mean, I'm gonna be really honest with you. I mean, I'm taking a look here, and Pacino's last, honestly, movie where you could be like, this is a pretty good movie. And I don't even know if you like Any Given Sunday, but that's the last one that I think I could sit there and say that, okay, he's in a pretty okay movie. But then 2000 hits. I mean, Insomnia is pretty good with Robin Williams.
Yeah, that was like a nice
but then after that, it's like Geely, which is your favorite, Sam. And then we have like Two for the Money, which is kind of bad with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that's
Ocean's 13. And then he follows Ocean's 13 with 88 Minutes and Righteous Kill and Jack and Jill. And you ever see Stand Up Guys? That's pretty bad.
Nope.
With Christopher Walken.
He did a film in 2015 where he plays a singer.
Danny Collins, that's bad.
I like Danny Collins because he wasn't like over the top. I actually enjoyed that film because that's the reason. I guess it was
yeah, but by this point, I mean, to me, it would have been good if I didn't watch him in Jack and Jill. So it's like, okay, we've seen you in these awful performances. Now you're Danny Collins. You're not believable with this long hair, pal, because he's talking about he wrote songs with the Beatles. Like, I'm not buying this role, man, because I have just seen you in Righteous Kill where you were chewing gum like it was way too much. And I get what you're saying, though. I will give you credit because I saw Danny Collins. And out of all these movies, it's the closest thing that you can say to be like, well, this is kind of closer to Al Pacino. But he's burning bridges with bad movies, you know?
He needed money. He was broke.
You know what I'll give him? Did you ever see it was on Amazon? It had only 18 episodes. He was in a television show called Hunters, where he was the head of like Nazi hunters. That wasn't terrible. But again, it's a television show. Paterno was good too.
He wasn't bad in
Paterno?
Jack Kevorkian.
Kevorkian?
He was like What's Killing Jack or What's Up Jack, something like that.
He did three HBO movies back to back to back. Paterno, he wasn't terrible in. Phil Spector, he wasn't bad in, and then
the Kevorkian one, the Kevorkian was the first one he did, which is he won him a Emmy, and I think a Golden Globe too. But he and the Irishman, he plays Jimmy Hoffa, and Jimmy Hoffa's kind of a hothead, so he wasn't horrible in that film.
He was actually good in that too. He was actually way better than De Niro.
Oh yeah, but I don't. This movie, Righteous Kill, it's a disappointment. It's like when you really want to try something to eat. Like, you know what? I'll tell you what. Like, you go see this pizza place, and you're like, man, everybody's talking like Pequods. Everybody tells me how much Pequods is. And it's so great. And I tried Pequods, and it was like, eh. This movie's like kind of like that. Only that Pequods taste like shit, and it did taste like shit. It was okay. This movie just sucked. Like, I wanted it to be good, and it was just bad. So bad.
Real quick, a good HBO De Niro movie. I don't know if you ever seen when he played Bernie Madoff.
That House of Lies or Wizard of Lies.
Yeah, he was actually
Wizard of Lies is
like Wizard of Oz. He's playing to his old to his age, not de-aging tactics like that video that you played. Can you play that one more time before we move on?
Oh yeah, sure, I can play this. This is for those who have not seen Robert De Niro with his vicious kick.
Sorry, but your kid was out of line. I only did push my daughter. I'm sorry. No, please. No, please.
The kick at the end is the best. When he tries to stop on him, that's the best kick. Like, that's the scene from The Irishman when he beats the shit out of that guy.
They should have just taken the de-aging off of that scene.
Yeah,
it's like, it's like an 85-year-old De Niro trying to kick somebody.
It was great. That made me happy now. So, but let's get off this one and go to one we agreed on. Telling this is our pick that we both agreed on, and this scene I'm going to choose from it is just ridiculous. Listen to this.
Thing is all right. I got a beat from Kim, and she can fuck all night. Called up the homies, and I'm asking y'all, which park are y'all playing basketball? Get me on the court, and I'm trouble. Last week, fucking Brown got a triple double.
Oh,
That is Robert De Niro singing "It Was a Good Day" by Ice Cube. In the 2016 film Dirty Grandpa, he plays the role of Dick Kelly. It's directed by Dan Mazer, who directed I Give It a Year, The Exchange, Home Sweet Home. He did the Ali G show, and he wrote both Borat films, which I thought was pretty interesting. The film stars Zac Efron, Aubrey Plaza, Jason Mantzoukas, Dermot Maloney, Julianne Hough, and Zoe Deutsch. The film had a box office of 94 million and a budget of 25 million. This is when I saw this film, I'm like, man, Pacino did bad films too, but De Niro is just fucking, he's just getting a paycheck, man, because this movie was sucked. And the fact he's saying that song, I'm like, this happens to be one of my favorite songs from growing up. Like, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, I don't know, man. I saw this and I'm like, he needs to like do something. He needs to retire. That, and I never say that about anybody that I like in acting movies, but he just needs to retire. This is almost 10 years ago, people. Tone, what do you think about it, Tony?
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate on this one tonight because, to be fair, it's not good. But did I laugh at some of the scenes? I did laugh at some of the scenes. Like, especially Aubrey Plaza. I thought she was really funny in the movie. But again, De Niro is playing a dirty grandpa. This is Oscar winning. Like, that's the problem, I think, with the movie is like, if this was like John Lithgow, it could have been good, but maybe not even John. I don't know who could have played this role to make it good, but
that's great.
It's really dirty though. I mean, it's not, the title is like, he's not like a rated PG-13 grandpa. Like, this is a rated R movie, and De Niro is hamming it up to his biggest ability, and Zac Efron's playing the straight-faced character, not believing that his grandpa is this dirty, I guess. But again, by this point, man, De Niro again. I mean, people aren't going to the movie theaters. Like, if you're somebody from the 1980s, 90s fan of his collection, are you really going to see him in Dirty Grandpa? Probably not.
Sam, what do you think about this movie?
I saw a trailer for it and went, I will never watch that movie.
That one actually surprises me because there's some of that, like Adams. This is like pretty much like a B-rate Adam Sandler movie, pretty much. But instead of like, what movie could have made it better was like if Buscemi was like the grandpa or something. Like, people would have bought into it more.
Yeah.
But again, like, this is a very bad poster too because it looks photoshopped.
Yeah, as they said, they're like, it kind of just reminded me of Bad Grandpa, and I was just like, I've already seen
John Knoxville. Yeah, this one just I don't know why he took the role again. He probably needed money. Aubrey Plaza is the best part of this film, I think. Tone, in my opinion,
she's great in everything.
Yeah, it just I think this is when he's at the low of lows.
Yeah, and I think Tony nailed it on the head. Like, if it had been like somebody else, like Buscemi or somebody else, that probably would have seen it. But it's like De Niro, and I was just like, okay, I've seen him try to do this. I don't want to watch this.
That's it.
Like, this is like a reverse Meet the Fockers for him. Like, this is him playing the Dustin Hoffman role, basically, in Meet the Fockers.
So these are two people that were considered for the role. Tone,
he's playing a priest. He's playing a grandpa. He's playing a dirty grandpa. He's playing a guy in a submarine suit.
Right.
What is he playing next?
Well, Jeff Bridges and Michael Douglas were considered for the role of Dick Kelly.
Jeff Bridges might have been funny, but again, and I think if this movie wouldn't have come out, like if this movie and the Lex, I think, because there's some really, like, honestly, some questionable things that I don't think that, like, if this was after COVID, it might not have made the cut into the film. Like I said, it's you haven't seen it. There's some dirt. I mean, there's some stuff that is almost like, okay,
It's not good. It's not it, like the funny thing is De Niro did not participate in the film's promotional circuit, and that's probably why. C. McD says maybe he could have played a dirty mob grandpa. Yeah, he could have. Of course, Brian thought this movie was hilarious.
But that's it. Like, I do find it, like, if you put it on, I would laugh and I would point out. But like, if you're somebody like Sam who just sat through Righteous Kill, and then someone's like, "Guess what's coming out this weekend with De Niro? Dirty."
Righteous Kill 2.
Yeah, Righteous Kill 2. Third, the second. This one, De Niro didn't participate in a promotional thing of it, which kind of tells you that this movie was bad. This funny part is, Sam, that in the screenplay was featured on a 2011's blacklist of recognized as one of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. Who the fuck was reading that?
Right.
Well, I want to know. It's just it's raunchy, and I think it kind of tries to go overboard, and I don't know.
Yeah,
It didn't click for me.
And that was like the age of, comedy films who were trying to figure out what could still work as like a blockbuster comedy movie, and you get shit like this.
Yeah, and I think they just try to do too much with it. Anything else to say about Dirty Grandpa, Tone?
It's just as you just pretty much wrapped up right there. It's you don't want to, if you're sitting, what I was trying to say there before I got cut off. If you just sat through bad movies of his, you're not going to then want to sit through a movie where he's playing a dirty grandpa. Because you're like, well, I'll go watch Rodney Dangerfield for the 18th time and watch De Niro try to be funny once, because I know at least he can do the same thing that I've seen over and over and over again, be funny or something along those lines. De Niro's good at some comedy, but what Meet the Parents and Analyze This opened up the door was he thought he can do it. Like, you ever see those pitchers who they come up with like the one pitch that they've been working on all summer, and then they start doing it like 60% of the time, and then it starts getting hammered all over, but they're like, I believe in it. I'm working on it.
Stay the course.
That's De Niro's comedy, where it's like, at this point, it's like, okay, we need the Irishman, but not you kicking like that, something along those lines.
Kind of like when Don Cooper taught everybody to cutter.
Yeah, just throw cutter.
Cooper fix him. This was a Cooper fix you De Niro movie.
The Dirty Grandpa's the Coop of De Niro.
Wow, Brian just coming out with the hits tonight, huh?
A dirty grandpa in that movie.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next two are controversial picks, Sam. I'll play the clip for this, and I'll tell you why this one's kind of funny.
I'm sure you don't want to go into the ocean bar. It's beautiful in there.
I'm happy I don't have to go there. I like it here. There's an exit. I'm like a ghost. Nobody knows I'm here. But tell them I speak for our friends in Florida.
So the reason why I got that clip is because De Niro makes a cameo in this film, and Sam picked it like an asshole to make me dig for a sound clip. And this film is 2013's American Hustle. It's directed by David O. Russell, who did Amsterdam, Joy, Pass Forward, I Heart Huckabees, Three Kings, The Fighter, and Spanking the Monkey. It stars Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Pena, Jeremy Renner, Jack Houston, and Louis C.K. Tell me why you picked this one, Sam.
Because I love this cast, and it was such a goddamn letdown of a movie. I don't like David O. Russell. I do not like his movies. Other than The Fighter. The Fighter I enjoyed. Caitlin and I saw this movie together, and we both left the theater going, why did we go see this movie? It was not at all what it was shown in trailers and all this stuff, and it just had no flow to it. It felt weird. I honestly forgot De Niro was in this movie until I was looking at things. I was like, oh, he's in this crappy movie? It's a crappy movie. So it's going on my list. And then I looked again, I'm like, oh, he's uncredited in this movie. Which I apologize for, but I have to give this movie another viewing because I did see it when it like first came out, and I really don't remember much about it. I just remember that Jennifer Lawrence annoyed the shit out of me in that movie, and that it just felt really odd, like for a period piece. And Christian Bale's getup was really unsettling to look at with that hairdo that he had
And the fat stomach.
and the
I
fat
think
suit there, or whatever the hell he was going on with that.
I think this film was I so his role. I think this film actually was based off a true story, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I
Tom,
think
was it?
so.
Uh, I don't think this film was that bad. I actually enjoyed this film, and it's mostly because of Christian Bale. I thought I liked the ending where Bradley Cooper gets fucked over by Amy Adams and Christian Bale. But I can see why Jennifer Lawrence irritated you. She irritated me in the film too. But I actually like this film. I don't hate it. I just think it's funny that you picked the De Niro cameo in it. That's made me laugh after I searched for stuff. But Tone, I know you like this film a lot.
You know, when I saw the movie, I can see where Sam did say one thing in his description of the movie that I can see there's a point to the movie, but then there's not like a point to the movie too. Like you just like it was pretty much you were hanging around with a bunch of cool characters for 2 hours, but like in the movie, there isn't like a Goodfellas type of story that's driving it. What it is it's like a sum of these cool characters that you're watching and hanging out with. So you need to like be aware of that. And if you are, it could be a great movie because as you said, it's a great cast. Like Bradley Cooper does a great job in the movie, I thought. Christian Bale does a great job. You know, I could see you saying what you said about Jennifer Hudson. Amy Adams did a fine
Jennifer
job.
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, but like Jeremy Renner does a great job in the movie. But again, it doesn't have like a driving plot to it, so it's hard. And I see what you're saying about David O. Russell. You know, I mean, The Fighter was a really great movie, but again, there isn't a lot of great movies. This one is a good movie. I refrain from saying great. It's good, but you know, I also, again, if you replace these actors and you put in there like different actors, the movie falls flat on its face, I think. It's being held together by the actors, not by the director and the script.
Yeah, it's a very top-heavy cast.
It's the opposite of Stone, where like it's Stone's got everything going wrong with it. This movie can be held together because it's got these great performances.
Right. I don't know. I felt like, you know, like you said, it was like you just spent time with these four or five characters, and then it was just, all this stuff's happening. Like, okay, what the hell? Where was any of the backstory here?
I think it's kind of like scrambled a little bit. Did you like The Fighter, Sam? Have you ever seen The Fighter?
Yeah, I like The Fighter. Yeah.
Okay. So I could kind of see where you're going with it because it kind of was kind of like scrambled together, and then it kind of branches out in its own way. I thought Bale, his performance was really captivating in terms of like he kept me engaged in the film, and I thought Bradley Cooper was really because he is kind of an asshole in the film. He's a cop, and he gets like kind of caught up with Amy Adams, who's kind of playing in a love triangle between her and Bale, Bale and Cooper. But this film was nominated for 7 Oscars, and it didn't win any of them, which I mean,
not a surprise.
Yeah, it's not surprising. But yeah, it's just made me laugh when you picked this one because it's universally praised from what I was seeing. I think it's like on IMDb, it's a
7.2. I think I just looked.
Yeah, 7.2 on IMDb. It's 90 on Metascore, which means it's pretty high.
You know what it does have that is really another, I think, a positive qualities is especially at the end, some really great musical interludes with some good music songs, especially where he like Bradley Cooper's melting down at the end. They use this electric light orchestra song that works really well. And it's like the same thing like in Goodfellas, a song can take something and make it better. But again, that has nothing to do with the story. So if you're somebody watching it not invested, I just look out for like music and stuff like that. But De Niro's part, man, why wasn't he nominated for this one?
I totally forgot he was in the film.
No, I did too until like I saw it earlier. But now when you saw this picture, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this part. He just randomly showed because obviously this was after he and Bradley Cooper did Limitless together, so they became like good friends.
I like that film.
I like that film a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Which I think is why I think I like this. I like this movie because I think I saw him right around the same time, and I was like, De Niro's back. He might be on a run. But I think I was a little pre.
He was on a 2-film run.
Did you talk to the movie box and say, "You are good, De Niro"?
No,
You are good. People like you.
No. No.
That was like, I have to clip that. That's like one of the best things that we had on the show of you looking at a movie box and screaming at it, "Why aren't you good?" But the next one, which is another David O. Russell film.
Hey, what do you know?
Is this one?
Let me tell you, I know you don't want to listen to your father, I don't listen to mine, and I'm telling you, you gotta pay attention to the signs. When life reaches out at a moment like this, it's a sin if you don't reach back. I'm telling you, it's a sin if you don't reach back, and it'll haunt you the rest of your days like a curse.
Silver Linings Playbook, released in 2012. He plays the role of Pat Sr. Again, is directed by David O. Russell, starring Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Chris Tucker, John Ortiz, Shane Winningham, Jackie Weaver, and Julia Stiles. The film had a budget of $21 million and a box office of $236 million. This one, I can understand why you picked, Sam. Tell us why.
So I will preface this by saying I love De Niro in this film. I think he does a very good job as Pat Sr. I like Bradley Cooper in this film. He captures, mental illness and everything in this film very well. The reason I don't like this film is because the premise is so stupid. It's so stupid. And Julia Stiles is not good in this film. Jennifer Lawrence, yeah, she won an Oscar. She shouldn't have. But she, just for screaming in a movie for 2 hours, is not what you get for an Oscar for. That bothers me. It still bothers me. But I just didn't like that the whole premise was him trying to get back with his wife through a fucking dance contest. What are we doing here? But his mom being played by Jackie Weaver, and then Robert. I thought they were fantastic. That whole family part of it was great. Everything else was complete crap in this film. It just felt like they didn't know how to piece it all together correctly.
And that's where I can agree with you on this. I personally loved De Niro's performance in this. I loved Bradley Cooper's performance in this. I actually like Chris Tucker's performance in this, and it was I was really happy he was actually back mainstream, which made me happy because he was going through financial trouble too. Apparently, a lot of these people we're talking about go through financial troubles. But this is one of those occasions where the movie I thought wasn't great, and it wasn't De Niro's fault. Just like Godsend, no. I don't think Godsend was De Niro's fault because he wasn't even in the fucking movie, really. In this one, he did a great job. I just think the premise, like you said, kind of hurts it. And that's why I wasn't as in love with this film as other people were. I actually thought Naomi Watts for The Impossible should have won the Oscar over Jennifer Lawrence, but because I didn't really like her in this role, I always see her as Katniss Everdeen. That's always what I see her as in other films I watch. She hasn't had that breakout role since that, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You can disagree. It's just the way I feel. What about you, Tone?
De Niro's friend in the movie, sitting on the couch with him, Paul Herman, he's got the best line in Goodfellas when he's like, "You want to see some helicopters? I'll show you helicopters." I always love that line. But again, it's cool that him and De Niro are playing these roles like this. But honestly, I only seen the movie once, and these are probably, out of every movie that is available to watch, these aren't the ones that I enjoy to watch. These melancholy stories with as you stated when you started describing the dance contest, I'm maybe that's why I haven't watched it again. It just doesn't, the characters don't. But I agree with what Sam said. I mean, Bradley Cooper did a great job. De Niro did a great job. You start to think about Jennifer Lawrence, because the reality is she's only got a couple of these movies that she's been in that have been Oscar worthy. And since then, her next David O. Russell movie after this flops big time, called Joy. And since then, I haven't heard much, but, I don't know much about that. But in this movie, it's just not my cup of tea.
What she did? She did that movie, No Hard Feelings, I think.
Never heard of it.
Oh yeah, that the
Sex
comedy
comedy.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I know.
I mean,
I haven't seen that one yet, but I heard that one's funny. That's
yeah. C. McD says, "I don't need to get away from a bummer life to watch someone else's bummer life."
that is true.
And I think sometimes those films are powerful, like Precious.
Yeah.
Precious was a powerful film. This one I think had like like C. McD says in our comments, the performances carried this.
Mm-hmm.
They did, and I think Cooper, De Niro, and Tucker. Also, I do like Paul Herman's performance in it as well. I thought they were very good. I just like when you think about the overall thing of him trying to get back his wife is a fucking dance play. It just doesn't make sense. I understand the reading of silver linings. He's trying to look for his silver linings in life,
Right.
but it just like I think this was overhyped in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Bradley Cooper I think he should have won an Oscar for his performance in this film. I thought he was that good in this movie, but everything else around it just kind of didn't set him up to have that key outbreak, win of that role. Usually this is weird to say, but you see that in the Oscar voting, like if someone's portraying mental illness or sickness or something like that, they're usually the top heap of voting. And he played it really well. I think it was supposed to be bipolar disorder he had in this film.
Yeah, bipolar disorder.
Yeah, he was doing really well with that, and doing that, and like I said, De Niro playing his dad, and there's scenes where they're fighting each other and all this. It's that part of it's very good, and then it's just goes off into this weird side thing of just nothing. And it's just there's not a lot of layer to it. It's very empty. It's a very hollow film.
Yeah. In terms of Cooper, he was up against some heavyweights.
He was. Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis went for Lincoln that year.
Yeah.
You had Hugh Jackman up for Let's Remember Miserables. You had Joaquin Phoenix for The Master and Denzel Washington for Flight. So any of those were worthy. And then in Best Supporting Actor, you had Christopher Waltz won for Django.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Arkin was for Argo. De Niro, of course. Philip Seymour Hoffman for The Master. And then Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln as Steady as Stevens.
Argo,
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
I'm just happy that Beansy got his ramp and he was able to get in their house.
When he was set in, but that's the one thing I thought about it. When he was like, "Oh yeah, he was in his scene of helicopters." I'm thinking he also got ran over by a car by Richie Aprile.
You're gonna build Beansy a ramp.
I'll build a ramp up to your ass. Does he say eggplant parmesan? Fuck you.
You.
The Sopranos, such a great. We should do some deep dives on some episodes of Sopranos. I have Sam on. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But that's our 10 films. Are there any films that you guys left off the list that didn't make it because we only did 10?
Are you ready? You ready? All right, here we go. Oh well, you can go first, Sam.
I didn't really. I mean, I haven't seen this one, but I know About My Father was pretty bad. The Comedian.
The Comedian is not good.
Grudge Match that he did with Stallone.
I think there was not the best.
Killing Season, I think, is what he did with Travolta. That was pretty bad.
Oh, bad.
And I think we talked about Freelancers.
Freelancers.
And then there was that one he did with Statham, I think, and Clive. Killer Elite, yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
That movie was bad.
That was bad.
Yeah, those were some that I was juggling picking.
He's also Enjoy.
Yeah.
The movie, I don't know what you think of the movie, but in the first Joker, what did you think of him in that?
I thought he was fine. I liked the movie. I liked the first Joker movie. I thought it was very good. I just thought he wasn't in it much of it, but I thought him playing this talk show host was fine. I thought he did a fine job.
I could see the tension between him and Joaquin Phoenix in that film, so I kind of thought it played off well. I didn't think he was bad. He wasn't supposed to shine in that film, and I think he did a good job of not shining in that film. In terms of me, I know Brian's not gonna like this, but I thought he was horrible in The Fan. I hated The Fan. I hated Freelancers. I already talked about that shitty movie. 15 Minutes I thought was bad. Shark Tale, which I thought was which is a fucking ripoff of Nemo, Finding Nemo, and he was in a movie that I saw with Eddie Murphy called Showtime. That was really bad too. What about you, Tone?
Again, everything that you have mentioned is, of course, really, really not good at all. I'm trying to see here what's something that you could label as bad. He's in this movie called you said Killing Season. That was bad. Like I'm not looking for him. I mean, the movie again, probably it got some better ratings, but The Intern was a stupid plot for him.
Yeah,
for me.
my mom told me to bring that movie up. She's like, talking about The Intern.
Because it's just like, again, he's playing again like this. He does not only, this movie's bad. This movie's real bad. The War with Grandpa. So not only did he do Dirty Grandpa, but he did The War with Grandpa, where it's like the PG Grandpa, where he goes with his grandson. If you've never seen Amsterdam, that's David O. Russell movie. Oh man, you haven't seen such an awful movie that I've ever seen.
I avoided that one.
I knew somebody that said that movie should have been nominated for an Oscar.
Again, great cast.
Now there's this movie. It's and this just shows you how far we've come. In 1982, he came out with a Scorsese movie called The King of Comedy, and this movie gets like it's a lower end of Scorsese comedies. But if you watch this movie and you put it against any of the movies that we just mentioned before, he should have got an Oscar for this movie, because you just don't know the bad of what's coming later in your career when you're comparing it to Taxi Driver. You know what I mean? Or comparing it to The Godfather Part 2. You're like, of course things are going to be bad compared to that. But now what's this movie compared to Righteous Kill? Whoa, De Niro, what happened?
It's a classic. Well, I mean, The King of Comedy, they got like a 7.8 on IMDb.
Well, but back then, when you're looking at box office, the budget was 19 million, it only made 2.5. That's a flop, big flop. So that's what I mean. But if you and we sat down and watched it, you'd been like, why did this movie flop? But Shark Tale made 19 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same thing with
Rupert Pupkin. Here we go, Rupert Pupkin.
Yeah, it kind of goes to the same role of or same aspect as Shawshank. Shawshank didn't make a lot of money in the theater; it made more money through rentals. Sometimes the people miss out on the to watch it in the theater because they don't get advertising or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But Freelancers got a shitload of advertising. I saw that movie, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Then there's films like Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas, that film, Goodfellas. Okay, here's a question for you.
Awful script,
Sam.
awful.
Which one do you prefer, Goodfellas or Casino?
I've only seen Casino once, and that was a really long time ago. I want to watch it again because I do enjoy Goodfellas so much, but I know that is like the debate is Casinos or Goodfellas or like the two tier. But I'd have to go with Goodfellas just because I'm more familiar with it. But I do have to watch Casino to get a refresher on it.
What
The
about
only thing
you?
I remember from Casino is Joe Pesci forcing Sharon Stone on him in the car. That's the only thing I fucking remember.
Oh my god,
this is the only time I'll ever get to bring this movie up, because even if we did a good De Niro one, I don't know if I do. But if you're looking for a newer De Niro movie that honestly, it's got a couple laughs in it, and it's got a bunch of classic actors in it. Have you ever watched Las Vegas?
No, is that the one he does with Michael Douglas, Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for some PG-13 light laughs, a bunch of old actors getting together for a last hurrah, that's a hell of a whole lot better than Dirty Grandpa. Because at least he again is playing to who he is and where they are in their age group, and he's not playing like de-aging techniques. And it honestly has got a little bit of heart to it too. But again, we're far away from Godfather Part 2 is.
Man, Morgan Freeman did Las Vegas, and then he did The Bucket List. So he must have been doing movies that were like old people are dying and shit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when you look at it, Morgan is 87 years old. I mean, they're not going to cast him in John Wick. You know what I mean?
He could have been John Wick, dude. He could have been there.
What?
The guy who plays Ian McShane's like 90.
Yeah, he's old too.
Winston?
Ian McShane is not in his 80s, I don't believe.
He might
I
be
think
late 70s.
I think he's in his 80s.
Ian McShane is 82. But
Yeah.
again,
Go ahead.
we just had a presidency where one guy was like 3 years younger than the other guy, but I heard he's older. He's so much older. These guys are like 6 years apart, so at least I should win this one, right?
Yeah. I mean, but like this is in 2013, so he was in his 70s.
Well, again, and I'm not trying to be rude to Morgan Freeman or put him down, but in John Wick, are you really going to tell me that Morgan Freeman could have brought the same thing that Ian McShane did to the role? Because he couldn't have.
No, but he could have been in Concierge. He could have been. He could have done the guy. Oh, you know what? He can't do that guy. I'm not going to defend that guy.
You know what?
Lance Reddick. I like Lance Reddick, and I like him.
I love
the
Lance
game
Reddick.
Destiny.
Lance Reddick's amazing, and I miss Lance Reddick.
The Chronicles of Lance Reddick.
Yes,
That's the movie Tony's looking for.
That's the biography I'm going to do on him.
But yeah, that's our De Niro films. If we missed any of them or you disagree with us, let us know. Don't watch Freelancers, don't watch Godsend, and don't watch
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Horrible films. Righteous Kid was bad too.
Yeah.
But let's get into our Sugar Baggies pick of the week, Sam. Let's see if you experience this one while he talks about it, because I don't know what it is. It's a surprise whenever we do this. But let's get into the Sugar Baggies pick of the week.
The Sugar Baggies soundtrack pick of the week.
All right, tonight I am going for a little bit more of an obscure movie soundtrack and not a great movie at all, in my opinion. It was called Elizabethtown, directed by Cameron Crowe. The score was done on the soundtrack by his wife, Nancy Wilson. Yumper, what 80s famous movie was Nancy Wilson in?
She was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She was
excellent job. If you didn't get that, I would have been awkward. So you got that. Good job. But this soundtrack is loaded with lots and lots of different songs from bands like My Morning Jacket and Ryan Adams to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Elton John. It's another movie where if there's anything good about the movie, it's the way the songs are placed in it, which Cameron Crowe always does a great job. When doing research for the soundtrack and looking at it, it brought up 2 points. It brought up a point where I took a girl on a date to this movie. And if I'm not mistaken, let me check here real quick. Yes, it was a little long for a date movie for me in college, and which isn't long to me now, which is only 2 hours and 3 minutes. But the movie felt like it was 3 hours and 45 minutes because it was like everything we talked about Stone, but like make it like a love story, which could make it even worse because you're just like slogged out and dragged out with just a bunch of, but what you do have is good music. And when I was doing research for this one had actually 2 full soundtracks released, different vinyls. So the soundtrack gets some good play, but again, unfortunately, sometimes you'll have a soundtrack where the soundtrack's good and the movie just stinks. And this is one of those type of soundtracks.
So I want to know, were you anticipating seeing this movie, or was it just because you were going on a date you saw this movie?
Well, this is like, I've always been like, actually back then I was 20. If you think I talk about movies a lot now, back then I was like, Cameron Crowe's got a new movie out. I got to go see it. He's done Jerry Maguire. He's done Vanilla Sky. And the girl's like, all right, we're going to see a movie. And I would be like, all right. And then like I'm sitting in the movie and like all of a sudden like the movie ends and then like we're walking to it. I'm like, well, that wasn't a good movie. And like I'd have girls go, couldn't you just enjoy it for what it was? And I'd be like, no, it stunk. And then we didn't really go see many movies after that. And, so it was like, again, I had to learn to be like, there could have been better things to this one, and that's where, I had to evolve.
Did you yell at the movie box?
Yelled at the poster outside the film.
What's disrespectful about that comment, Yumper, is you wanting me to expect that Orlando Bloom's going to do anything good. Like, I mean, that's this. Orlando Bloom,
Hey, he was good in Pirates of the Caribbean.
He was
Put some
not.
respect on Legolas's name.
Again, he was
Oh,
again.
he
I
hates
call
Lord of the Rings.
Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom is a was that a non-playable NPC? I mean, you could make anybody Orlando Bloom. I'm looking at this. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure I didn't
I was gonna say, has Orlando
overshadow.
Bloom been in anything in late? He was in that Gran
I'm not
Turismo
seeing
movie.
anything here. Okay, he did Killer Joe on Broadway. I'll give him that, but I never saw it, so I don't know if
He was in Troy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I do like Troy. We'll give
What'd
Troy. Hold on a
He wa-
second. He's in Black Hawk Down, which is good.
He's in Black Hawk Down. I don't remember.
Yeah,
that
he's
one.
private. What the Blackbird? Yeah, Blackbird. He breaks his neck like 10 minutes into the movie.
Oh, okay.
He's barely in it.
That's all I got.
Three Musketeers.
Ha! The remake.
You guys got that one.
He's in Ned Kelly.
Forgot about that one.
Ned Kelly.
I to be honest with you, like besides Lord of the Rings and Pirates, I do not remember him in any movies.
Yeah, really? He kind of didn't do anything.
Since you bring it up, I'm going to bring up a movie that he was in that I saw it during the same time period in college at Ball State as I did Elizabethtown, and this movie was 1,000 times worth than Elizabethtown. He was in it, hour 44 minutes with Ridley Scott. Do you know the movie?
Kingdom of Heaven.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Boy, that was awful. Because you know why it was awful? There was a performance in it worse for Edward Norton than Stone. He plays a role where he wears a mask the whole time and you never see his face, but he is listed as a credited actor in this movie, which to me is just always kind of just blew my mind. So do some research on that. And he plays King Baldwin the Fourth of Jerusalem, who wears the silver mask the whole time and you never see his face. Weirdest crap I've ever seen. But
really?
Yeah, good thing you've never seen this, Jump. I would just be so weird. I'd be so weird to see that. What you would think of this one, but
I wouldn't watch Elizabethtown. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a big romantic comedy guy. I don't hate them. I just don't seek them out. I will watch them with my wife if she wants to watch them, but I don't like. It's not something I'm gonna pop on. Like, oh yeah, let's watch this. Like the biggest romantic comedy that I like a lot, and it's because I had a big crush on Salma Hayek when I was growing up, is Fools Rush In. That's like the romantic comedy I like, with Matthew Perry. And then I watched the next Matthew Perry romantic comedy, which was Three to Tango, and that was okay. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to watch any more of them. But Sam, like, have you heard this movie? Have you heard this soundtrack?
So I've heard of this movie, but when I first popped up, I went, "Wait, is this the tennis movie?" And I go, "Wait, that's Wimbledon." It's a very different movie.
Wimbledon.
I was like, "No, that's not." I've never seen this movie, but I know what it is.
Yeah,
I didn't know Cameron Crowe did it though.
The soundtrack looks sweet though, man. Like,
Yeah, it sounds good.
And Cameron Crowe's wife, she was in Heart, right? She was in Heart.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Coming to town.
Yeah. But yeah, they have like Ryan Adams in there, Wheat's in there, My Morning Jacket, Tom Petty. That's pretty cool. I mean, I would listen to the soundtrack. I probably wouldn't watch the movie.
It's just because honestly, it reminds me a lot of like what we were describing about American Hustle. You're spending time with these characters and you really don't get to know them well enough, but you're supposed to be invested in a guy who lost his father, but you didn't really know their relationship. It just becomes, and as stated by CMCD, I after having a long week, I don't want to feel this guy's pain. And he didn't even explain it good to me enough while I'm watching it. So you know what? I think I'll pass. But the music, though, again, is what keeps us going. And the music in this one is pretty good.
Yeah, I would say the music looks good. I probably will never watch this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, unless my wife tells me to watch it. Then
She won't be telling you. And if she did, you could go feel her forehead and make sure she doesn't have a fever.
Yeah. Maybe Caitlin would like this film, Sam.
She might.
She might.
Honestly,
I have not seen this movie since 2004 or 5. So, like you said about American Hustle, maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll see something that I didn't. I just remember the music was good in the movie, which happens sometimes. Can you think of a movie soundtrack, Yump, that you enjoy the soundtrack, but the movie was Not good.
Righteous kill.
No, not really. Not off the top of my head.
Well,
'Cause
to leave you on this thought with soundtracks, I finally thought of what I was singing before we came on to the show here. A great soundtrack song that I know that you love. A sequel, a Western sequel, that Mr. John Bon Jovi does the lead song, and the lyrics go, "Shot down in a blaze of glory." That's what this week has felt like. So it's been a great show with you. I was not shot down in this episode, and we made it through talking about Stone, which I never thought that I would make it through talking about Stone.
You never thought you'd ever have to talk about Stone.
Oh,
Well-
I got one for you. Josie and the Pussycats. That movie fucking sucked, but the music was good.
Yeah, I can go with that.
But speaking of Emilio Estevez and Young Guns, he just announced that he is filming Young Guns 3, alias Billy the Kid, with him returning. Also, Lou Diamond Phillips is going to return, and Christian Slater.
Did we say something about money? People needing money?
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That might be something else.
So he just came out and said he's gonna direct it. So
Really?
I
They
will
asked him. They needed of all the people that they needed to direct the third. They said, "You know who we need to come back? The actor who hasn't been in shit in 10 years. Let's have him direct this movie."
Hey, he's the Mighty Duck man. Don't you?
Hey, Emilio Estevez.
I love
directed Bobby.
Emilio.
That's a great film.
But let's be really honest with each other here. Like, we are ripping De Niro to a point and Pacino, but they've been in some of the greatest movies of all time. Emilio is
He's in Bobby.
not even the best
movie.
guy, the best brother in the family with the best movie. So
He's in Bobby. That's a good movie. But
he
the cool
directed
thing is,
Bobby, didn't he?
yeah,
He
the
did.
cool thing is,
which
John
great.
Fusco, who I really like, he did Thunderheart. He wrote Thunderheart.
that's a good movie.
And he wrote the first two Young Guns. It's actually coming back to write. He also did a great film, his first film, which Sam, if you want to check it out, it's probably gonna be in my 31 Days of Horror this year. Is Crossroads with Ralph Macchio. It's kind of a paranormal film where he plays the guitar, and he it's about selling your soul to the devil, like what Robert Johnson did. They say in Faust. John Fusco actually wrote that, and it's actually a really, really cool film that doesn't get talked about a lot in the 80s. And it has a good soundtrack too.
The only Crossroads I know is with Britney Spears and Oscar
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, so when that movie came out, Sam, I remember I was looking for the Crossroads I'm talking about, and every place I went to was like, I'm like, "Do you have Crossroads with like the Britney Spears movie?" I'm like, "No, no." Yeah, and now it's everywhere. I had to buy it off a bootlegs place, and now I have it. Then I bought the actual copy. But yeah, it's a good film. I think it's on Prime, if I'm not mistaken. But that is our show. We rambled on for 2 hours. You saw me really animated. You saw Tony really animated. You saw Sam just laughing at us as we got animated. Great pick, Sam. Great idea. We are definitely going to have you on again to go through this. Maybe you might be our go-to person for these for this little segment of the show. We'll have this definitely in our rotation from now on. Sam, tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
I'm still one of the few holdouts on Twitter still. I don't refer to it as a letter. I think that's stupid. It is Twitter. It will always be Twitter. At Sam Reeves, SAMR33V3S. You can find me on there. Please follow All Sports Scene more than anything on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere, and our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. We do a show every Thursday at 7 o'clock Central Time, and every other Tuesday we do a show that we interview people, and they bring a topic we don't know about, and we just make up an interview. It's a very fun show that we do. This Tuesday, we will be doing a March Madness bracket fill out and reveal for anybody who wants to join into that. Even if you don't watch college basketball, like I haven't, I'll be doing stuff with that. So, otherwise, I do want to plug our buddy Worm has done a baseball series at the Music Box Theater in Chicago. This weekend's a league of their own, Saturday and Sunday at 11:30. You can go out to the Music Box Theater and see that. Other movies on there are Moneyball, 8 Men Out. There's a new film called Ephus coming out that they'll be debuting there. So check that out, the Music Box, and please go support them.
Very cool.
Cool. definitely check that out. As for me, just check us out on Sadistic Penguin Studios. We'll be dropping some blogs here and there. I'll be coming out with a couple of videos here and there. Tony has a show called The Hookup on Music. Tony, what's coming out on that one?
Tomorrow I'm just going to talk about Dennis Quaid. No music, all Dennis. No, I'm kidding. Tomorrow we are going to be digging into some of the new releases that just came out this past week. It's always good to, what I like the best about the show is like, I could talk about this artist that's this kind of music, this artist that's kind of music, this artist that's kind of music, kind of mix it all together to try to make one giant, hodgepodge. So please tune in. It's always a good time.
Yep. Check out the Hookup on Music. That's Getting Drafting here is also on the network. I think Brian's on a little hiatus right now. His work is kind of killing him. But like I said, we'll be coming out with some.
But he's gonna get that what's that called again? The
monocle.
Yeah, he'll be good once he gets that. He'll be back.
Once he gets
his monocle and shaves his head, like in the Fearless Leader.
He'll be good.
The At the Mini Show will be back when there is big news. I mean, we dropped 2 stories in this episode, but there hasn't really been big news for us to do a whole show on. So unless he wants to talk about 2 stories for like 30 minutes, which I don't think I can do. And I don't think Tony can do. We can talk about other stuff though, but you get that here. We'll be back next week. We'll be releasing what we're going to be talking about probably during the week. Be sure to hit us up on Blue Sky at Lil Yumper or at the Chalsa, and Tony's still holding out over there on the Twitters at the Hookup, and we still have holding out on our show at the Show Pod. With that, everyone, Cotton, we made it to 2 hours and 1 minute, so we did it just for you. I rambled on just for you, Cotton. We will see you guys next week. Have a good night and deuces.
Thanks for listening to the At the Show podcast, a Sadistic Penguin Studios production.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do? Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?